Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. And today we're going to be talking about an idea of, I hate air quotes, but the good life, and how the world expects us neurodiverse people to fit into a world that was designed and created by us so that the neurotypical people could function easily. That's my solid belief in the world. So let's crack on and get to it. So from what I've read from everyone, all these people on the internet, you know, the successful, the super successful people, the people that apparently started with nothing and are now multi-millionaires. A good life means to eat well, to exercise, to be productive, to sleep properly, to improve yourself every day, look after your mental health, learn new skills, do things you enjoy, keep your money in keep your money to budget, keep your house nice and clean. And I'm standing there thinking to myself, oh, let's also not forget, they seem to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, but they never fucking tell you what time they go to bed. All of that in one day. It seems a bit much to me. It seems way too much to me. I can barely do a day's work and then cook a meal most days. Why us charming, handsome and lovely ADHD folk can't do it all at once? For someone with ADHD, I feel very much like trying to tick every box of the good life in a 24-hour period is like trying to complete all of the Dark Souls games with your eyes shut while you're in a bath. It's just not going to happen. We want to eat right. We want, you know, our heart's in the right place. We want to do these things. We want to eat right. We want to exercise. We want to hydrate. We want to meditate, do all the other bits and pieces. But it's just, it's so difficult for us to do. We've run out of steam repeatedly over day after day after day. My wife used to accuse me of having like a period, you know, like women get all moody or whatnot on their period. She said I used to be like that every month or 2 months. I'd just get moody and down in the dumps. Turns out that's a known thing with ADHD. The reality of trying to do all of those things in one day is dead simple. You'll go into the bedroom to organise your sock drawer and you'll end up there for 4 hours messing around, sorting out sock drawers. You'll forget to make yourself lunch. You'll stay up way past the bedtime that you've set yourself researching solar flares or some other random bullshit that you saw on the news. And then suddenly you'll remember you were meant to go for a run next Thursday, and then that's all you can think about because, you know, you booked something else in next Thursday or something like that. My virtue, my way of dealing with this is to try and pick one thing each day, just one thing each day that I know I want to do. Today, I've just come back from holiday. I was away for a long weekend. Today, I want to just sit down and play some games for a while. Once I've finished doing this, recording these videos, I'm going to go and sit in the other room and I'm going to play a computer game for a little while. If you've got any suggestions for good computer games, let me have them. I'm not a fan of first-person shooters. It's fine to do that. It's fine to just pick yourself one thing each day that you want to do, achieve that thing, and then that's enough. I've spent a large part of my life pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and it doesn't really get you anywhere. The thing is taking that one thing and doing it consistently day after day after day after day after day, because once you've done that, you can reset this, and then you bolt something else on there, and then you're doing two things consistently day after day after day after day. Do you know what I'm saying? It's nice and easy to understand that way. Once you've got one habit, then you end up with 2, then you end up with 3 and 5. When you try to do everything, you'll fail. You might not fail straight away. You might not fail in 3 months. You might not fail in 3 years. It's taken me a long time to get to where I am today. A lot of struggles and a lot of uphill. So over the years I've tried doing it all. There was a time way back when I was weight training twice a week, I was doing martial arts midweek, I was shooting on Mondays, I was working full time. I was like the Flying Scotsman. At that point my missus was like, well, I never see you anymore. I gave some of it up, but where I gave some of it up, it was like a pillar system. But the 1 or 2 pillars that I gave up made the whole building collapse. Funnily enough, a year later she started whinging and whining at me and telling me that I need hobbies, you need hobbies. And I'm like, I fucking had hobbies. I had it all set up. And I believe it took me probably nearly 4 years to get back to any kind of structure again after that all getting collapsed. Long term, looking back at it, I struggled to stick to a rigid routine. I can stick to a rigid routine, but it doesn't take much of a wobble to make the whole thing collapse. I was asking ChatGPT about something the other day. It's actually me trying to stop eating so much chocolate. I'm still struggling to not eat so much chocolate. So I've come up with a plan. My plan is dead simple. I'm allowed 1 dessert a week, and on Sunday night I'm allowed to eat a couple of chocolate bars, maybe 3, and that is my weekly sweet stuff allowance. I want to get rid of my belly. I've got quite a big belly on me at the minute, and I think that's the way to do it. Now ChatGPT turned around and said to me in these words, so if you do eat something on Tuesday, if you eat a chocolate bar on Tuesday, You haven't fucked the whole thing up, yeah? You've only fucked that day up. And that's a very important thing. Going back to what I said earlier about pick one thing and do that. If you fail to do that thing on one day, you haven't fucked it up forever. You've just fucked that day up. That's my neighbour. He's trying to give me my door keys because he feeds my cat when I'm on holiday. I shall be back shortly. So I embrace that shit. That's the point. You are who you are. I'm sure there's some really deep and meaningful quote about that somewhere out there that I could cut in here if I wanted to, but no need. There's no point forcing myself to live like all the other fucking robots out there that get in a car, drive the same route to work and back every day, blah, 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 do the same job, because it always ends with failure for me. And yes, we all know, if we've got ADHD, we all know what failure feels like, because we have tried and tried and tried and still can't get through and can't get what we want. But if you keep going and you live your life the way you want to live your life and the way you can manage your life, you will find happiness and you will be successful. So some of you might be wondering, Mr. Robert, giving us all this fucking advice all the time, what does the good life look like to you, Mr. Geek? What do I do instead? I build my good life my way. I eat well. I do that relatively good. I'm not very good at cutting out the sugar. I get very impulsive with sugar. So I eat meat, veg, fruit and leafy greens. That's literally all I eat. I try not to eat any ready meals unless they are really good quality ready meals. I try not to eat any bread, any carbs of any kind, so white potatoes. I do eat sweet potatoes because they're lovely. Exercise. I do work when there's plenty of work on. I do actual physical work. I do a couple of exercise classes a week at the minute. I do a long walk once a month. I'm going to up that to probably twice a month. I enjoy the company when I'm out and about. Being around and chatting to women, no matter how old or young they are, really calms my nervous system. I believe that comes from my childhood. Being productive. I run a business, so that's job done. I am constantly having to be productive, although we're in quite a slump at the minute. It's March and we do get a bit of a layoff on work in March. Better tomorrow. This is a difficult one. How can you be better tomorrow if you don't know where you fucked up today? So I do that by journaling, and I journal in either ChatGPT, because I can voice edit it, a piece of software that I wrote for myself that allows me to journal, or I just use a text file that's available everywhere I use a text file that is available everywhere. It's available on my phone, on my tablets, on my PC, and I can journal into that, and I keep that as a rolling diary of what's going on in my life, especially big points. The mental health thing, I find mental health for me is making sure I stay well slept. Do not underestimate the power of sleep if you're ADHD. You might struggle to sleep. You will struggle to sleep. I don't struggle to get to sleep because I'm always fucking exhausted. What happens with me is I struggle to stay asleep for the last part of the night. So I might wake up at 5 or 6 o'clock and then not be able to get back to sleep again. When I had my wife living with me, that was such an easy thing. I used to just roll over and lean against her and everything in the world was fine. Like a baby when they're crying and you give them their bottle or their dummy and they go, wee, wee, wee. That's what Leon, my wife, did to me. It just calmed me completely and instantly. I would say for mental health, do more of what you want to do and less of what you feel you have to do. Get away from the bullshit. Give fewer fucks and slow down. Stop rushing everywhere. You might think you've got it all under control, but you haven't. Trust me, I've lived right the way through there. And yes, I paused recording just now to go into the other room and get myself a glass of cranberry juice because my mouth is dry from talking, and ended up doing the washing up. That's ADHD life for you. Don't hate yourself for it. How do you build a good life without force? I've found over the years, forcing yourself to do things is the worst thing to do with ADHD because we are rebellious by nature. You don't have to live to a military routine to build a good life. Do small, smart things instead. You want to get a bit more exercise, just park further out of town when you go to another town, or when you go to the supermarket, park right as far away from the door as you can. A few extra steps. Out for dinner, swap chips for a salad. Look at what's actually doable today, not what you should do, and don't stack all these things you want on top of each other. Just one small thing at a time. So the moral of this story is simple. If you try to carry too much, you drop it all. There's an old saying, isn't there? The straw that broke the horse's back. That's what that means. It means they had way too much on the horse and they put that one little thing on and that was it, bush. That's what happens. So you imagine yourself coming out of the supermarket, you got all this fucking crap and you're trying to carry it and you just drop the lot. Because you're just trying to carry too much. So stop. Learn to carry 2 or 3 things at a time. Move forward like that for a while, and then add more to that later. That's the ADHD good life. It's not telling yourself you're going to quit chocolate altogether tomorrow and never eat anymore. It's finding a way to do a small thing that makes a big difference, or accepting that you might only be able to do a small thing, and then another small thing, and then another small thing, and then you've got a big difference once you've done that 4 times. Brutal example, I fucking hate planes. On the plane home last night, I had my phone and my headphones. I downloaded a bunch of episodes. Each episode is 20 minutes. The flight was 2.5 to 2 3/4 hours. And I said to myself, 6 episodes. Once I've watched 6 episodes, I'm practically at home. That's how you do your life. Break it down into smaller chunks. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't let everything beat you down. That's it for today. Join me next week for self-worth and why your achievement feel like other people's failures. Are you familiar with that? Because I fucking am.